Something happened 3 days ago that shattered every known law of the spiritual realm. While you were sitting in that moment of unbearable tension, biting your tongue, holding back words that burned in your throat like holy fire, the entire architecture of heaven moved. Angels stopped mid-flight. Ancient watchers turned their gaze toward earth. Because what you did choosing silence, when every fiber of your being screamed to defend yourself, to explain, to correct the lies being spoken about you, that single act of restraint detonated a frequency so rare, so cosmically significant, that it registered across dimensions. The Akashic records flickered, timelines split, and in that split second of your obedience to something higher than your ego, you unknowingly activated a sequence that cannot be reversed. Your enemies felt it first as a sudden coldness, a creeping awareness that they had just made a catastrophic mistake. You felt it as a strange peace, an unnatural calm that made no logical sense given what you were enduring. But what neither of you understood in that moment was this: your silence wasn't surrender. It was a loaded weapon, and you had just handed the trigger to God Himself. The spiritual realm doesn't operate on human logic. It responds to frequency, to purity of intent, to the rarest form of power, the power to remain still when provoked. You exhibited that power, and now everything that was hidden is being pulled into the light. In the entire history of spiritual warfare, silence has been the rarest weapon. Prophets spoke, warriors fought, kings commanded. But to possess the strength to close your mouth when you have every right to open it, to swallow your justification when lies are spreading, like wildfire to trust the unseeing while the seeing world crumbles your reputation. This is a level of spiritual maturity that takes lifetimes to develop. The ancient texts speak of it in whispers. The mystics knew it as the final test before elevation, because anyone can praise God when blessed. Anyone can pray when desperate. But to remain silent when slandered, to refuse retaliation when attacked, to hand your vindication entirely to divine timing, this is the mark of someone who has died to self so completely that they have become dangerous to the kingdom of darkness. Throughout history, only a handful of souls have passed this test, and the moment they did, the invisible war shifted in their favor so dramatically that their enemies never recovered. But because your silence proved something that heaven had been watching for, now let me bring this closer to home. Think back to that specific moment. You remember it, don't you? Someone said something about you that was partially true, but twisted in a way that made you look malicious. Or maybe it was a complete fabrication, and you had the receipts, the proof, the screenshots that would have destroyed their credibility instantly. Your fingers hovered over the keyboard, your mouth open to speak. Every instinct in your human nature demanded that you defend yourself right then and there. But something stopped you. Maybe it was exhaustion. Maybe it was a still small voice that said, "Not yet." Maybe it was a sudden knowing that engaging would only feed something dark. Whatever it was, you made a choice in that moment that went against every natural impulse. You chose to wait. You chose to trust. You chose silence. And the second you made that choice, something in the spiritual atmosphere cracked wide open. You might have thought you were just avoiding drama. You might have told yourself you were too tired to fight. But the truth is far more significant. That moment was a crossroads, and you passed a test that most people fail repeatedly throughout their entire lives. Your decision activated a clause in the spiritual contract that has been written over your life since before you were born. What you don't know is that you've been under surveillance. Not the invasive, violating kind, but the kind that watches with anticipation, waiting to see what you'll become. Both light and darkness have had operatives assigned to your life. The dark side has been trying to provoke you into premature action, into self-defense that would look like pride, into speaking out of turn so they could use your own words against you. They've been setting traps for years, trying to get you to move in your own strength, in your own timing, with your own methods. Every time you've been mistreated and didn't seek revenge, a note was made. Every time you were lied about and didn't launch a counterattack, a record was updated. They've been compiling evidence, not of your perfection, but of your trajectory, of your willingness to be misunderstood, of your capacity to endure injustice without becoming unjust yourself. Let me remind you of the pattern, because you've probably forgotten. 6 months ago, you had the opportunity to expose someone who wronged you. You had the evidence. You had the audience. You had the moral high ground. But you felt a check in your spirit, and you held back. Then 3 months ago, a different situation. Someone took credit for your work, your idea, your effort. You could have publicly corrected the record. You could have made them look foolish. But again, something in you chose the higher road. You stayed quiet. Last month, yet another test. Betrayal from someone close. You had private information that would have justified your anger and turned others against them. But you kept it to yourself. You processed it with God and maybe one trusted confidant, and you moved forward without creating a spectacle. Do you see the pattern? These weren't random events. These were trials. Each one designed to reveal what kind of power you carry. Because people who can't control their tongue can't be trusted with real authority. People who must defend themselves at every accusation can't carry the weight of divine assignment. But you test after test after test. You kept choosing restraint. You kept choosing trust. You kept choosing to let God fight while you remained still. And each time you passed, your spiritual ranking increased. In the councils of heaven, they don't classify souls by how much they know or how gifted they are. They classify them by how much they can be trusted with. And trust is proven in the fire of false accusation, in the crucible of being misunderstood, in the wilderness of waiting while everyone else is celebrating. You've been through that fire. And you didn't just survive it, you were refined by it. A classification came down 3 days ago. The higher beings who monitor Earth's spiritual temperature flagged your profile, not because you're perfect, not because you've never made mistakes, but because you've developed the one quality that makes a soul dangerous to the enemy's agenda: self-control under divine authority. You're no longer reacting to life. You're responding to heaven's cues. That makes you rare. That makes you valuable. That makes you a threat to every system built on chaos, reaction, and ego. The demonic realm sent the memo to all its agents. Do not engage this one directly anymore. They've learned restraint. They won't take the bait. We've lost our leverage. And simultaneously, the angelic realm received its orders. Increase protection. Accelerate provision. This one is ready for the next phase. They've proven they can handle visibility without losing their integrity. Deploy the blessings. And then, in a moment that exists outside of time, God himself took notice. Not because he wasn't aware before. He has been orchestrating every second, but because there are certain divine actions that only occur when a human being reaches a specific frequency of obedience. The archangels stood at attention. The seraphim paused their eternal song. Because what was about to happen only happens for those who've earned the right to carry a heavier mantle. God spoke your name, not the name on your birth certificate, but the name that has been written in the Lambs of the Book of Life since before the foundation of the world. The name that carries your true identity, your actual purpose, the fullness of what you were created to be. And in speaking that name, he activated dormant DNA in your spirit. Gifts that have been sleeping began to wake up. Discernment sharpened. Spiritual sight cleared. The fog that's been clouding your purpose began to lift. You might have felt it as a sudden clarity, an unexpected peace, a knowing that something has shifted even though your circumstances haven't changed yet. That was the moment. That was heaven's response to your obedience. God witnessed your silence and declared it good. And when God declares something good, all of creation must align with that declaration. Then came the decree. These aren't suggestions or possibilities. When God decrees a thing, it is established. He looked at your life, at the years of preparation, at the tests you've passed, at the character you've built in obscurity, and he issued the command that changes everything. Activate. One word. But that word carried the weight of divine authority. It echoed through the spiritual realm like thunder. Chains that have been limiting you for years shattered. Curses that were spoken over your lineage dissolved. Doors that have been locked swung open. Opposition that seemed immovable began to crumble from the inside. This wasn't a reward for good behavior. This was a military-style promotion. You've been moved from the training ground to the battlefield, from preparation to deployment, from promise to manifestation. The decree carried specific instructions to angelic forces assigned to your life. Remove the obstacles. Expose the traitors. Align the connections. Release the resources. Accelerate the timeline. What was supposed to take 5 more years will happen in 5 months. What you thought required certain credentials or connections will come through supernatural routes. Because when God activates your true identity, he doesn't do it halfway. He doesn't send you into your assignment under-equipped or unprepared. The decree ensures that everything you need is already in motion toward you. And now the revelation you've suspected, but perhaps been afraid to fully accept. You are not ordinary. You never were. Beneath the normal life, the regular job, the everyday struggles, there has always been something ancient inside you. You are a celestial warrior who volunteered for this assignment. Before you were born into this body, you stood in the courts of heaven and said yes to a mission that most souls refused because of how difficult it would be. You are part of an elite force of old souls sent to Earth during this specific time in history because the planet is in transition and it needs anchors. People who can hold frequency. People who can remain stable while everything shakes. People who can be lied about without retaliating, attacked without seeking revenge, misunderstood without needing to constantly explain themselves. That's who you are. Not a victim of circumstance. Not someone who's just trying to survive life. You are a planted agent of the kingdom of light, embedded in a world system that's been controlled by darkness for too long. And your true identity has been hidden, even from yourself, until you were ready to handle it. But your silence 3 days ago was the final test. You're ready now. The training wheels are off. And you're about to see what happens when a celestial warrior remembers who they really are. Your mission is now clear and non-negotiable. You have been assigned to anchor integrity in spaces where corruption has ruled, to model compassion in environments that have normalized cruelty, to demonstrate self-control in a culture addicted to reaction and outrage. You are here to be living proof that another way is possible, not by preaching, not by condemning others, but by simply being who you are, unmoved by slander, unshaken by attack, unbothered by misunderstanding. Your very presence will make people uncomfortable because you'll reflect back to them what they've compromised. Your peace in the middle of chaos will convict those who've chosen anxiety. Your silence in the face of accusation will expose those who can't stop defending themselves. This is your assignment. You will not build a following by manipulation or marketing. You will attract a tribe by frequency. The right people will find you because your energy signature will call to something ancient in them. They won't even know why they feel drawn to you, but they'll feel safer in your presence, more hopeful, more capable of choosing the higher path. You are a tuning fork for truth. And everywhere you go, you'll help others remember who they really are too. This isn't about being famous. It's about being faithful to frequency. Stay there. Hold that vibration. The mission unfolds from that place. And because you've aligned with your true identity, the material realm must now align with you. This is law. Energy follows intention. Resources follow frequency. You're about to notice patterns shifting in your favor. That financial pressure that's been constant, it's about to ease in ways you didn't orchestrate. That living situation that's been suffocating, sudden options will appear. That career path that felt blocked, doors will open that you didn't even know existed. This isn't magic. This is alignment. When you operate in your true identity, the universe conspires to support that truth. People will offer help without you asking. Opportunities will find you instead of you chasing them. Money will come from unexpected sources. Not because you're suddenly lucky, but because you've stepped into the flow that was always meant for you. The struggle you've experienced up until now wasn't punishment. It was preparation. It was the weight training before the competition. But now you've graduated. Now you've proven you can be trusted with increase. So increase is coming. Watch for it. Receive it without guilt. You've earned this not by perfection, but by perseverance. By choosing integrity when it cost you. By staying silent when speaking would have felt so satisfying. The blessings aren't a reward. They're tools for your mission. You'll need resources to do what you're being sent to do. And they're coming. Here is what they didn't tell you about walking in your true identity. You won't have to convince anyone of anything. Your life will become the message. People will watch how you handle betrayal and learn something about forgiveness. They'll watch how you navigate loss and discover something about resilience. They'll watch your silence in the face of lies and remember that they don't have to defend every accusation either. You are about to become a living permission slip for others to choose the higher road, without preaching, without posting inspirational quotes, just by being you. The awakening you trigger in others will be effortless because it won't come from your words. It will come from your frequency. Someone will be in their darkest moment, about to give up, about to compromise their values, about to seek revenge, and they'll think of you. They'll remember how you stayed calm, how you trusted the process, how you didn't let bitterness make you bitter. And that memory will be enough to pull them back from the edge. You won't even know it's happening most of the time. You won't get credit for the lives you change. But that's the point. You're not here for applause. You're here to anchor light. And light doesn't announce itself. It just shines. And everything that's been hiding in darkness gets exposed naturally. And you need to understand something crucial. You are not alone in this. Right now, across the planet, thousands of souls just like you are waking up to the same truth. They've passed similar tests. They've chosen silence when provoked. They've held integrity when it cost them everything. And one by one, they're being activated. You might have felt isolated, like no one understands what you've been through or why you make the choices you make. But there's an invisible network forming. A global family of light worlders, warriors, chosen ones who don't even know each other yet, but are being woven together by divine design. You're going to start recognizing them in random conversations, in online spaces, in unexpected encounters. There will be a knowing, an instant recognition that this person is part of your soul tribe. These connections aren't coincidental. They're strategic. You being positioned in a grid of consciousness that will hold the planet steady during the coming transitions. Some of you will meet physically. Others will connect energetically. But all of you are part of the same mission, to anchor a new frequency on Earth. A frequency of integrity, compassion, truth, and unshakable peace. The isolation is ending. The support is coming. Your people are finding you. And together, you're more powerful than you can possibly imagine right now. So here's what I need you to do. If this message resonated in your spirit, if you felt that knowing, that recognition that this is about you, don't keep it to yourself. Comment 777 below right now. Let that be your declaration that you're ready, that you accept the activation, that you're saying yes to your true identity and mission. Then subscribe to this channel, because you're going to need the reminders. The enemy will try to make you forget. Circumstances will try to convince you it was all in your head. But you'll come back here and remember the truth. Share this video with someone who needs to hear it. You know who they are. That person who's been silent through their own storm, who's been holding integrity while being misunderstood, who is about to give up because they can't see that their obedience is about to pay off. Send this to them. And most importantly, stay until the very end of this message, because there is something in the final seconds that will confirm you heard exactly what you needed to hear today. Your silence wasn't weakness. It was warfare. And something irreversible has been set in motion because of it. Welcome to your true identity. Welcome to the mission. Welcome home.